It's now time for On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson. The conversation will range from local dialogue to international. This show is meant to enlighten, inform, and to inspire. On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson begins now.
Hello and welcome to On the Line. I'm your host, Cheryl Wilkerson. Another Sunday morning. Thank you all so much for joining me. Pleased to be with you today. You know, a few months ago, Will Smith was in the headlines, he and his wife. And a big topic of conversation was alopecia. And the subject was brought to light, but I don't know if we really got all the facts. So to that end, today I welcome Dr. Prenik James. She is a certified trichologist. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct.
And you know all about matters of the hair, especially when we are dealing with things naturally, natural hair, natural solutions, things such as that. So welcome to On the Line.
Thank you for having me, Cheryl.
I don't know if you were pleased or not when the conversation came up because of the manner that it came up with Will Smith and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Was that good for you to get out there and educate people on a topic that perhaps people don't know much about? Was that something that you took the controversy and made it good? You made it positive?
Absolutely. Definitely there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding alopecia, which is a very sensitive topic. But I feel that as time goes on and the consumers are properly educated with the right information, I feel like it'll be looked upon a little bit better, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So last month, September, was Alopecia Awareness Month, so I did take the time out to continuously educate everyone about the various types of alopecia, and just to kind of let everyone know what alopecia is simply the medical term for hair loss. And there are about 12 different types of alopecias, and of course we have our subcategories. So when you see someone that is suffering from the actual condition itself, whether it be you, a family member, a coworker, et cetera, it's very important to kind of tread lightly because, you know, a lot of these consumers are affected by alopecia. Not only are they affected by alopecia, but they suffer from trauma from it, you know, low self-esteem, and it causes mental issues as well.
Wow. Give us your background. Tell us how you got started in this.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I am a certified trichologist, and a trichologist is someone who studied the science of the hair and the scalp. The root or the Greek word for trichology is trick. Trick is simply the Greek term for hair. Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference between being a dermatologist and a trichologist. So derma is the root word for skin. So when someone is suffering from alopecia, a lot of times they will tend to opt the services of a dermatologist, wherein I'm not saying that they're not qualified to handle some hair loss issues, but a lot of times they're going to suggest more so a synthetic approach, wherein your health insurance are covered and so forth. Wherein myself, I take a holistic approach to overall hair health, taking that multi-therapy approach, starting inside out, getting to the root cause. So my background is not only being a certified trichologist, I am certified with the International Association of Trichologists, and I've been a trichologist certified since 2005. And then later on within my career, I opted into becoming a naturopathic doctor. So therefore, I could take that, again, holistic approach and get to the root cause. About 97% of my patients suffer from a nutritional deficiency, which, of course, contributes to the hair loss. I always like to say your hair is the barometer of your health. So it's not just all about applying, topical solutions. There is no one size that fit all. It's all about, getting to the root cause of the condition at hand.
So growing up, did you have someone in your family that went through this, or where did the specific interest come from?
That's a great question, Cheryl. My mother was actually, as far as I can remember, I was a shop baby, right? Okay. She was a hairstylist, an entrepreneur, and she was known for healthy hair. She had, what they would say, growing hands. And really, I did not want to do hair at all. I did not want to do hair. However, because, I had that trauma from being a shocked baby, and growing up within the industry, I saw my mother struggle and so forth. So my mother wanted my sister and I to do hair. She didn't want us to have to work for anyone as we pursued our, education and college. She wanted us to be self-employed. So my sister and I, to make my mother happy, we took apprenticeship under her, and we received our cosmetology license via, hands-on practical in salon and going through Votech, and we decided to branch off into becoming nail technician. So to be honest with you, I started out as a nail technician just to, keep my mother happy. I had a very successful career in doing nails. I won multiple awards and so forth. But as time went on and I, saw my mother, again, servicing clients to the best of her abilities that suffered from some of these hair, conditions, I kind of furthered my education. I didn't start out in hair loss. I started out as a hair replacement specialist doing hair extensions and so forth. So I started out being certified in about 35 different hair weave and extension and hair replacement techniques. I was the first in the Hampton Roads area and abroad to bring the lace front. That's nothing new.
Wow.
I actually started back in 2000. I think it was 2004. This is when, Tyra Banks, when she had that show and everybody wanted to know how, she had that undetectable hairline and her hair was so flawless. So, hair replacement actually started out, is literally theatrical hair pieces when, has become popular. So when, back when I started off doing it, when I took the classes, I was the only chocolate chip in the class, and they really didn't want, the hair replacement to get into our hands, if that makes sense, into the African-American community. So.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I can't let you go off of this nail tech thing, first of all. So if I saw your nails right now, are they natural? Are they gel? Are they, I don't know what those other things are because I don't do them because I'm allergic to formaldehyde, but how would you describe your nails right now? How do you keep them?
I keep them naturally manicured, but I do apply gel polish.
Okay.
I don't apply any type of nail enhancement, such as acrylics and so forth, but I do use gel polish for the sake of maintaining the strength of the nail, and because I'm in water all the time, it works for me to have flawless polish without chipping. So that's the reason why I opted into, the gel polish.
Is there a correlation between the nails being healthy and the hair being healthy?
Absolutely. A lot of times when you're getting to the root cause, everything can reflect in the hair, the skin, and the nails, especially if you have some type of autoimmune issue or inflammation in the body, your malnutrition, and so forth. All of that reflects, again, your hair and your nails could, is the barometer of your health.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. You referenced Tyra Banks and her hair, and that set off a whole chain of events that we see today. Do you see this fad? I don't know if that's the right word, but do you see this trend? Maybe that's a nicer word. Do you see this trend ending soon where Black women in particular will go back to their own hair, whether it be natural or whether they style it or whatever, and leave the wigs and the weaves and all of that stuff alone? That's
a great question. I feel that I don't think that it's going to ever go away because a lot, hair loss, a lot of women are suffering from hair loss, so they tend to, when they start with, suffering from the hair loss, they tend to grab a wig, and it's just like covering up the wound versus, approaching it head on, treating the wound, and then using, let me backtrack. So what is causing the issues with the hair loss, and I guess we can start here with traction alopecia. Okay. So traction alopecia is when you've caused trauma to the hair follicle, tight braids, glue, overprocessing of chemical relaxers and heat damage and so forth, which, of course, traction alopecia is normally common around the hairline 360, or it can take place anywhere on the head when they're causing trauma, such as the tight braids and so forth. So with that being said, a lot of our African American women, that's pretty much the number one cause of a lot of the African American women suffering from hair loss.
Wait a bit. We're causing our own hair loss because of.
And it's not even just the consumer; it's some of the stylists. You know, they're not. You know, because I train and I mentor stylists all the time, and you know, especially when they get into this industry, they're excited. A lot of them are excited about really giving the clients these flawless, you know, hairstyles and so forth. So they get more so into the creativity, and they forget all about the health of the hair. So even with the glue, you know, if they're applying, you know, the glue, a lot of women are allergic to latex, right? So, and they're applying this glue directly to their scalp, and, you know, then they've created, you know, the hair wigs, and they have a protectant wearing. Still, the glue is seeping through, especially around the hairline. But what happens is they're not using the proper products to remove the glue, you know. When they have the glue, and then they have the glue remover, but they tend to use baby oil and oil sheen and so forth, wherein is not, you know, dissolving the glue properly. Wherein that's the problem, is pulling on the hair and so forth. So again, a lot of hair loss issues, especially traction alopecia, is self-inflicted or caused by, you know, a hairstylist that's not properly educated or really is not in business to care for the hair.
I'm going to sound totally ignorant throughout this conversation because I don't know these things.
Okay.
So people actually put glue on their scalp and with the expectation that it will not damage and it can be removed safely?
They do. However, with that being said, what causes a lot of the scalp condition in the beginning is the latex. A lot of consumers are allergic to latex, wherein this glue is latex-based. Now,
okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, they do sell a remover. As a whole, from my standpoint, as a trichologist, I don't recommend it at all, okay? But from the manufacturer point of view, they sell a solvent that goes along with the glue, which will, I'm not going to say that it will prevent the hair loss, but it just wouldn't be as progressive.
Okay. And when we're talking about glue, are we talking about glue to apply a weave or a wig or braids or what? I don't know.
Great question. So there are different types of glue, okay? When I was in the hair replacement industry, my first job was with hair club for men and women. So those are called hair replacement units. A hair replacement unit is a lace front wig, literally, okay? So that the type of glue that's used with those particular units is medical grade adhesive.
Okay.
All right, which is to be used on someone that doesn't have any hair or have a chance for the hair to grow back. So what they're doing is either applying the glue above the hairline, or they're not realizing that once they apply the unit, it actually causes the glue to seep into the hairline. So eventually the hairline starts to go back, further back, and then you look up, you don't have anything there. So that's one type.
When I look at Stevie Wonder, why is his hairline gone back the way it has? Do you know? Could you just look at a picture and say what you
Absolutely.
think?
So Stevie Wonder is suffering from what is called traction alopecia, where, again, you've caused trauma to the hair follicle. So he's worn braids for so long, wherein it has literally caused him to lose the hairline. Anytime you are taking your hair out of its natural fall or direction, you're causing tension. Even a lot of my women that are in the military, you know, they had to wear their hair back. You know, natural hair is more accepted now, but it still has to be, you know, neat. So a lot of them tend to opt for a smooth, low-end bun or ponytail. Wearing that continuously along with, you know, the hats and the gear and so forth, it rubs around the hairline, where it causes, you know, the hairline, you know, causes them to start to lose the hairline. So a lot of, you know, traction alopecia issues are caused by, again, even wigs. Like a lot of women say, okay, hey, I'm going to, you know, do a protective style, or I'm going to lay my hair to rest, or they, you know, just put a wig on every day. They're literally contributing, you know, to losing more hair versus allowing the hair. You know, our hair was designed, our follicles and so forth was designed to receive oxygen and breathe. But by taking and putting a wig on every day, And depending upon the type of wig that they're using, a lot of it have the netting underneath, which tends to rub the hairline out. So I've seen some consumers, some women to come into my practice when they have a head full of healthy hair, but because they didn't want to deal with the hair as a whole, they'll put a wig on to change their style. And they're doing this every day, and they cause that trauma to the hairline.
Don't want to deal with the hair every day. Talk about that, please.
Yes. So our women, especially our culture, right? Mm-hmm. Again, we're into the trends, we're into the styles, we're into, looking good, having this appearance, wearing, especially depending upon the lifestyle, if, they're really active and so forth, they don't want to deal with it. So they'll do what is called a protective style, or they'll do a sew-in or, a hard wrap and so forth to kind of give them a little bit more longevity with their styles. But in return, our hair is designed, we need to, healthy hair one-on-one, you need to be combing through your hair, brushing your hair. Mm-hmm. That increases microcirculation, which in return will help with the hair growth. Shampooing your hair weekly. Literally, you could shampoo your hair every day. I know that's not common within our community, but shampooing your hair every day, we can do that as long as you're using the proper regimen. But back to, a lot of, women, we want to keep that style 2 and 3 and 4 weeks, and then they get the hair extensions in. They keep them in, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Our hair needs to be shampooed. It's just like if you go without washing your face, 8 to 12 weeks, what would it look like?
I'm speaking to Dr. Prenik James, and I am so glad you were saying this because I am the kind of person that the best part about going to get your hair done is the shampoo. I don't care what anybody says, and that's why I cannot do locks or braids, and people always tell me, oh, you can shampoo your hair with that, and my common sense is saying, no, it's not going to be the same, and I just want to feel those fingers in my head. It feels so good.
Yes.
So what do you suggest for people that want to wear a wig or they want to wear braids? Give them some guidelines as to what can be done in a manner that's healthy.
Absolutely. So with of course, your braids and your hair extensions, give your hair a break. When you take them out, when you wear these hair extensions and so forth, no more than 6 weeks. And even in between time, like you were saying, Cheryl, they can shampoo and treat the scalp. But what causes the issues is when they go to style the hair without properly drying the hair underneath. That's a playground for fungus, yeast, and mold and so forth. So when they go to take it out, it has this odor, and you get this, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the consumers that wear hair weaves can resonate with what I'm saying. They get what is called a desert storm, right? When they go to comb through the hair, it just looks like sand. And what has happened is when they go to shampoo the extensions and they're not properly drying the base, again, that's a playground for mold and yeast and what I call candida, which is simply, yeast, which will cause scalp conditions, and that can lead to hair loss as well. So, in essence, if you are wearing braids, you still can go through your scalp, right? Mm-hmm. And you can take some witch hazel on a cotton ball and simply go through the scalp with that, or a Q-tip, cleanse the scalp, and then come back in, with oil, just lightly through the scalp and spray leave-in, keeping the scalp moisturized, because that's where the hair grows out of. So you definitely want to tend to that, and not keep the braids in so long. If you're getting your hair braided and it already starts out tight, you got to take aspirins and pills. That's a sign of hair loss. If you see your white bulbs popping or your skin taunted or stretched from the braids and it's tight around your hairline, just know that you're going to lose some hair when you take it out. And the more you do it, the more hair you're going to lose. As for hair extensions, if you're getting, a sew-in, if they already start out with a tight base, keep in mind they got to come in and sew the hair so it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. So just make sure that you are seeking the services of a professional that not only is interested in the appearance of the hairstyle, but they also have an interest in hair care. They, specialize in hair care, healthy hair care.
I went recently to my stylist in Virginia Beach. I don't get to go to her often, but my hair is natural. And she said, okay, well, you're doing good. I said, what do you mean I'm doing good? She says, well, because a lot of people with natural hair, it pops. I guess people aren't moisturizing it enough. So we don't get off the hook because the hair is natural. We're still making some mistakes. So can you address that?
Absolutely. So as a global natural hair educator, I train stylists all the time, and I even do seminars for consumers in regards to healthy, natural hair. Just because you're natural, that doesn't mean let it go. The hair still needs to be shampooed weekly. You also need to make sure that you are getting your treatment. When you were speaking in regards to the hair being dry and popping, that means the hair is overly porous. So treatments and using the proper regimen is very, very important. So Healthy Hair 101, it starts with a clarifying shampoo that's going to come in and remove any and everything that you have deposited onto the hair shaft: oils, dirt, debris, minerals from sweat that deposit on the shaft make the hair very dry and brittle. Medications, if you went swimming, is going to take everything out. A lot of natural hair women, they don't want to use a clarifying shampoo because they feel the hair is going to make the hair tangled, right? But what you need to do is come back in with a moisturizing shampoo, and then the following week you come in with hydration. There's a huge difference. Moisturizing shampoos will moisturize the hair shaft. Hydrating shampoos and conditioners will penetrate deeply into the hair shaft. So you have to rotate. The hair is just like the body. If you constantly give it the same, conditions, eventually it's not going to respond. So again, clarify taking everything out, replenishing the moisture, and rotating your conditioning regimen. The hair needs protein. Too much protein will snap the hair. Too little can as well. A lot of consumers want to strengthen their hair, and when they find their hair shedding, they'll overdo it with protein. And that'll cause especially natural hair, that'll cause it to become very dry and brittle and start to snap. So that could be a contributing factor. Not drinking enough water. You need to at least drink half of your body weight in order to get the proper amount of water. If you're not getting water, make sure you're getting it from your fruits and your vegetables. Literally, you can get more water from fruits and vegetables than sitting down drinking water itself. So all of that plays a huge part. Healthy hair is a lifestyle. It's not just all about just applying topical treatments. It's all about eating healthy. It's all about exercising, which will, of course, you want your hair to grow. You're having hair issues. Start to work out, start to walk, get some cardiovascular exercises within your lifestyle, and you'll find that the hair will grow just from that. Because what happens is if you are not moving and your hair is stagnated and you feel like your hair is not healthy and you're not moving, once you start to get moving, that's going to increase that microcirculation where, the blood is going to flow to the papilla. The papilla is what feeds the nutrients to the hair follicle. So I could just go on and on, Cheryl, about healthy hair. So hopefully I did answer your question in regards to natural hair.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I've sat down and I thought about this thing because this sounds bad to say, and I probably shouldn't say it, but sometimes I'll see a picture of somebody with their own hair, and it can be like maybe they put a perm in it, but they style it. In other words, they don't have a wig or weave or whatever. And it's like, oh, your hair is so pretty because you see it so rarely these days, and I'll tell them your hair is so pretty. But no matter what you do to your hair, you have to do something. Even if you have a bald head, you have to shave it continuously. It's no easy out. Is that correct?
That is correct. Again, there's no one size that fits all, and there's no microwavable approach. Healthy hair is not microwavable. It takes you putting in the work, treating the scalp, treating the hair, taking care of the hair, So definitely, again, there's no quick fix to healthy hair.
How can someone get in contact with you, and are you on social media?
Yes, so my social media platform is Fruit of the Spirit Salons with an S, and I just recently branched over into Nigeria and opened my first location, so I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. For my U.S. location, you will go under Fruit of the Spirit Salons with an S. That's on Facebook as well as Instagram. Or they can just call me at 757-914-5393. That's 757-914-5393. or they can book their appointment or consultation online 24 hours a day at Fruit of the Spirit Salons with an S .booksy BOOKSY.com.
We have less than 5 minutes left together, but being international, where does that spirit come from? Why did you want to do that?
You know, my approach is hair ministry. Hair. You know, this is a hair ministry for me, if that makes sense. So, Fruit of the Spirit. You know, I want to take this all over the world. So, to answer your question, how I ended in Nigeria, my husband is from Nigeria. So we decided to launch, you know, a location. This is our first location, so we're actually working on our second stage now. So
how exciting is that?
Yes, I'm excited about how God is enlarging my territory.
And when people come to you, what is the greatest compliment you have received after you've worked with a client for a while?
The greatest accomplishment, from my standpoint, is when I see the client and their self-esteem come to life after, you know, the hair has been restored. That's the greatest compliment, to see them come to life, and it's life-changing to see them just glow. You know, they just have this certain glow to them once the hair is restored.
I'm believing that you probably get many referrals from these satisfied clients.
Absolutely, yes. That is the greatest compliment. Great point, Cheryl. Yes, the greatest compliment is the referrals, and even my colleagues, they refer a lot of their clients to me as well.
Wow. What are you going to be doing in 5 years?
Great question. In 5 years, I should have a Fruit of the Spirit location in every part of the world. So our next goal is to launch in Europe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I will be retiring very soon. So that will take place definitely within the 5 years. Not retiring completely, but coming from behind the chair as a whole. So I'm training, I'm mentoring, and so forth to duplicate myself.
And really quickly, we've been talking this conversation, but you can help people of all races with their hair. It doesn't matter their race, correct?
That is correct. Mm-hmm. I service patients from all walks of life, all ethnicities.
I'll bet that's interesting. I'll bet that's very interesting.
Yes,
just the whole attitudes and how people view their hair and how people, their hair is their crowning glory, and how people see hair differently. I bet that's interesting, the clients you get and the reactions you get and the attitudes that you see about concerning hair. Absolutely.
So definitely women as a whole, I can say that across the board, when a woman is, or even a man, I service men, women, and children, mm-hmm. It definitely affects them emotionally.
Okay.
And that's pretty universal across the board. And then you kind of go from there as for, what actually caused the hair loss, and you get into that. And, once we get into that, we build that baseline, and we come up with a customized regimen suitable for them. Because, again, there is no one size that fits all.
Wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. James. One more time, give out that social media handle and that phone number, please.
Absolutely. Fruit of the Spirit Salons with an S on Instagram and Facebook. My telephone number is 757-914-5393. 757-914-5393. And hair ministry is what I do.
Thank you so very much. Also, thanks going out to Mark Rollins. He suggested you as a guest today. We want to thank him for that. Thank you all for listening on this Sunday morning. You all take care. We'll talk again next week. I'm Cheryl Wilkerson. Behold the green and gold.